Hey guys, it's me. Just wanted to make a quick little announcement before the video begins. As you all know, 1.18 has released, meaning that we have a new world height, as well as a ton of new biomes and even 3D biomes. As you might expect, this has completely broken the Urban Endless, and it's going to be a while before it can get fully fixed. So, in the meantime, you're going to get a lot of different content while I try to fix the issue. But hopefully it'll be back and running in a few months. So sorry for the big delay in content in regards to that. So as you might expect, today's video is a lot different from the videos I usually make. But don't get me wrong, I'm gonna love covering this. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Minecraft community, and more specifically, its disregard for the end dimension's design and mood when it comes to the idea of an end update. What I talk about in today's video is only the tip of the iceberg relating to what I have to say in regards to the Minecraft community, but I'll have to hold myself back for now so that I'll be able to explain myself piece by piece. But first, did you know that only 0.00... Okay, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do the statistic thing. You know what? Just like and subscribe. Moving on to the video. The end dimension, as we know it, was first added on October 13th, 2011. At this time, the end only consisted of the singular center island in the void that the end is most well known for. Later on, in 1.9, the end got the outer islands, chorus trees, and end cities. But most importantly, the shulker box, which... God, I love the shulker box. Anyway, this was the last update that the end would really get to see. And for many, the ends, compared to what we have now, is simply boring and lacking in content. And personally, I agree with that view. But this is also where an even bigger problem comes into play. You've probably heard people talk about concepts for an end update. You're probably sick of it by now as well. And you'd be right to be sickened by it, because there's a lot. But the worst part is what a lot of people are actually suggesting to be added to the end. Let me explain. If I were to guess that you've seen an end update concept video before, you've probably heard suggestions for the following. More than one new ore, end villages. A way to set your spawn point in the end. An upgrade better than netherite created by fusing it with some generic overpowered ore. A new mini-boss which makes the Ender Dragon look like nothing, which guards an ultra-powerful item which turns Minecraft Hardcore into the easiest game ever. I don't know, it's probably an amulet or a totem or something, it always is. Tons of new vegetation, like end grass, moss, mushrooms, and even trees. And you've also probably heard about something about, I don't know, huge crystals, which are fine. Let's focus on, like, the stuff that's not crystals, because there's not a lot of crystals in Minecraft, so they could do a ton with that. Anyway, let's just move on. You might be thinking, what's wrong with that? All those things seem like nice additions that would make the game so much more fun. But I would disagree. Look over these features again. Most of these are just blatant rip-offs of stuff that's already happened in Minecraft. A huge problem with the Minecraft community is that a lot of people are unable or unwilling to create original ideas that also fit into the game. But I'll get into that sometime else. For now, let's look at these specific ideas and talk about why they probably aren't good for the end. First, the most obvious one here. Enderite gear, Ender Pearl gear, God gear, whatever you want to call it. The deal with end upgrades to armor and tools is that it's only a little bit of a distraction. Remember Netherite? It was a huge deal. For like 5 seconds, and then everyone got full Netherite armor and called it a day. And it only made the game so much easier. Obviously, the ability to not burn in lava as an item is creative, but still. It didn't add as much to the game as what could have been useful. But it's not like the community is asking for very creative ideas here. The problem is that a lot of the community just loves to be distracted. It's like jingling keys in front of their forehead, and when the gimmick wears off, it's just another tool set that the player acquired with a lot less effort than what should have been given. and as soon as Netherite wore off, people seemed to immediately jump onto the End-related upgrade bandwagon. Second, End villages and End-related trading. The thing here is that outside the End, there are no ways into the End. All the End portals are incomplete, and even if they weren't, a random villager couldn't have just gone into the Chorus Forest and picked up some Ender groceries without getting mauled by the dragon. As for inside the End, well, there isn't exactly any form of civilization, at least not anymore. You might think that the Endermen are a functional civilization at first, but look further into canonical games such as Minecraft Dungeons, and you'll see that these Ender creatures are nothing but barely sentient servants to the Void. Third, and in my personal opinion, the worst of all, is the idea of End grass, mushrooms, and even trees. The idea of making the End into another generic alien tree dimension is downright sickening to me. Okay, that might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but I don't like it. The End's version of plants shouldn't be anything like what the overworld has. The thing with Purpur is that they are so far beyond being trees that you can't even use them as wood. They barely look anything like plants. But how is that a good thing? Why am I praising the fact that coarse trees are useless? Let me explain that next. All three Minecraft dimensions have a very, very specific mood to them. But today, I only want to focus on the contrast between the Nether and the End. The overworld's mood is surprisingly complicated for me to talk about, and I want to reserve that for a future video for talking about Lena Raine's work for the Caves and Cliffs update. Anyway, let's talk about the Nether first. The Nether is a harsh, hellish environment. There's lava and fire everywhere, and everything wants to kill you. Even piglins, the Nether civilians, will try to kill you on the spot unless you've got gold to show off. Everything's mean and angry and/or sad. In the Nether, you feel scared, unwelcome, anxious, and kinda depressed. But in the end, nothing really cares about you. You only have the Ender Dragon, and after you kill it, the world just goes silent. The Endermen barely even notice you. They'll shoot you a quick lance and teleport away. Even the Shulkers only care about you when you step on their turf. The land itself doesn't show any emotion, whereas the Nether is fiery, hard to live in, and seems generally mean. The End is cold, empty, barren, and alienating. Not to say that there isn't risk. Shulkers will immediately shoot you if you go into the cities, Endermen pack a huge punch if you make them mad, and as for the Void, it's 100% unforgiving if you die there. But that's the thing. The Void doesn't try to attack you, doesn't even make any sounds like lava does. It's just there. The instant you put a new wood type in the End, you completely break that atmosphere because it gives the player something easy to work with. The instant you put in mushrooms or grass into the End, the player will feel more comfortable. And the End isn't supposed to be that. This is why I actually kind of have a problem with how the End is portrayed in the Echoing Void DLC for Minecraft Dungeons. There's plant life everywhere. There's trees, grass, and leaves. It's a lot more comparable to the overworld than it should be. But hey, I've just been talking a lot of trash about how people think the End should be improved, but I've never said how I think the End should be improved. So why don't I do that now? So, firstly, if you want to improve the End, you've got to find more ways to show off Endstone, the main block. As of now, all we really have are super big islands and super small islands. But what if, for example, there were more than just those two simple shapes? How about bigger Endstone islands with caverns carving through them? How about spikier End islands? How about End islands with mesa-like plateaus? There's a lot that can be done with simply the shape of End biomes. The Caves and Cliffs update showed us that there's so much that can be improved upon by simply changing the shape of terrain, so why not do that with the End? Other than changing the shape of the End biomes, why not add in new types of Endstone? Smoother Endstone and Grayish Endstone have already been shown in the Echoing Void DLC for MCD. By the way, I liked those additions. The entire DLC wasn't all bad. In fact, there's a lot of good to it, but we won't be talking about that right now. Anyway, there's a lot that can be done with Endstone. Maybe some End version of sand, something like powdered Endstone. Even the chorus trees can be changed. How about new chorus tree variants that hang lower to the ground like underbrush, while the regular chorus trees loom above? Literally everything that exists in the end right now can be given new life by just playing around with how it's presented to us. One specific suggestion that I talked about with someone in Discord, who I can't remember the name of, was the possibility of miniature ecosystems in the end. These ecosystems would be little biomes only about a couple times the size of microbiomes in the overworld. The organisms and features of the biome would be vastly different compared to the majority of features in regular end biomes, and the content inside them would include some very useful resources to the player if they were collected. These biomes would also be very rare, and spawn very, very far out from the inner ring of the outer end islands, which incentivizes end travel for the player. However, there's a catch. The ecosystem in the biome would be incredibly fragile. If the player so much as steps inside the ecosystem, the life inside will react and begin to die and decay due to the change in their environment brought on by the player. These biomes would have to be handled with intense care, and the life inside would have to be harvested through some kind of unnatural means in order to keep the life from decaying. The life inside cannot be transported in any way to other locations without dying. That includes the overworld and the nether. These ecosystems have the same concept as geodes or mob spawners, but are much more fragile and difficult to work with. This idea wasn't super fleshed out, but the point of visiting them would be to harvest some of the incredibly useful resources inside, without damaging the ecosystem and destroying its tiny little environment. These were just a few suggestions for how Mojang could improve the end in a future end update. There's undoubtedly a ton of other features that could be implemented into the end. These are just some ideas of mine to help you guys get thinking. I'd love to see your ideas for the end dimension in the comments below, so feel free to share your thoughts. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe for more content like this. Also, make sure to check out the Minecraft But Awesome short series, as well as this video I made about my huge add-on, the Urban Endless. That's all for today. See ya!